Y les aseguro que esta mesa, por diseño y por su nivel, les va a cambiar la vida a mejor.
This is the wildest movie you will ever watch in your entire life. And I don't even exaggerate in the slightest. This film is hard to explain, really. It's hard to explain the plot and what it really is and what kind of a film it is, because it's truly unique. It is really unique in the sense that I've never watched a film that has made me feel the way that this movie made me feel, right? And it is a very unique feeling for a movie viewing experience. If you think about your typical movie viewing experience, you go to the movies and you feel happiness and sadness and you feel scared, you feel like crying, you feel like just happy joy, you feel adrenaline pumping action and you feel intensity from films usually. Not this one. This movie is just indescribable on how it really makes you feel when you watch it.
Les va a aportar felicidad al hogar.
Es una mierda.
So The Coffee Table is a Spanish film. So I'm coming from America right here, and this is my first Spanish film I've ever watched. quite the introduction to Spanish film, must I say. But this movie is fully in Spanish, so I don't know Spanish, so I had to watch it with subtitles and everything. And I usually don't like watching movies with subtitles too much because I think it takes a little bit away from the visual aspect of the film or the show that you are watching. I've heard so much about this film on socials like Reddit and everything, and the horror movie aspects. People want to describe this movie as oh damn, Lumi is fucking up my focus. Damn, this camera ain't doing. Oh man. People describe this movie as one of the most disturbing movies they've ever watched, right? And I feel like that is accurate to a point, but what I would describe this movie as is uncomfortable. This movie is the most uncomfortable film I have ever viewed to date. It is the most uncomfortable piece of media I've ever watched to date. And there's all kinds of weird, obscure movies and films and homemade stuff out there made by certain individuals. But this film is truly just absolutely unique. The plot of this film, if I can explain it so casually. Take Lumi here, she's trying to get in my shot. The plot of this film, if I can explain it so casually, it's hard to explain much of the plot without spoiling kind of what it's really kind of about. The plot of this movie it's really simple. It's a small story. It's just about this Spanish couple that are newlyweds. They just got married and they just had like a newborn baby, and they are moving into their first apartment together, and they're just trying to start their life together. That's all. They are trying to furnish their new apartment, their new home, and they want to, in the beginning of the film, they want to go out and they're at a furniture store and they want to go out and buy a table. And the husband in this relationship, his name is Jesus. He's really dead set on buying this coffee table. And this coffee table is weird. There's something weird about this coffee table. It looks so elegant and it's just weird. It doesn't fit in a normal setting. It looks like a coffee table that would fit in like a mansion or something, or like a 5-star hotel in Vegas maybe. I don't really know, but this coffee table is so weird, and he's just dead set on buying it because he just wants to choose something in the apartment, because I guess he says the wife chooses most of everything. He really wants to buy this coffee table just to spite his wife, essentially. And there's not like a great reason why he actually wants it. I don't even think he really likes it that much. He's just like, this is the one, I want it. And it kind of starts, the movie starts with the furniture salesman trying to convince him to actually buy the coffee table, like, really hard. He's trying to convince these people to buy this coffee table so fucking hard. It's actually insane. That's it. I mean, the synopsis of this film is it's just kind of silly if you look it up. It's not gonna tell you the real, like, you know, the gimmick of this film. It's about one thing, one event, and one thing that happens in this film. And that is just, it's kind of mind-blowing, really. So I'm going to start talking about the spoilers of this film, because I can't really go too further into this movie without talking about spoilers for this film. It's simply just not going to be that interesting. So, spoiler warning. This is your spoiler warning. If you ever want to watch The Coffee Table, I don't recommend that you watch this movie, by the way. So this is why I'm talking about it, because I just don't watch this movie. For real. Like, I don't recommend that you actually watch this. I can't actually seriously recommend that anybody watches this movie. Lumi is trying to get in the shot here. She would like to be my guest star here. Hello. Okay, so The Coffee Table, it's about Jesus, and I think it's Maria is his wife, and they decide to buy this coffee table in this furniture store that the furniture salesman was trying to sell them so hard, right? And they bring it home, and, you know, they're trying to set it up. While the husband is setting it up, he realizes that he is missing a piece for the table. It's just like one screw. From there, it's just odd, I guess. He realizes he's missing the screw, and so he calls the furniture store back and, you know, tells them to bring the screw to him, and so he can't finish the coffee table, so he kind of just leaves it on the side, unfinished, you know. And this coffee table is really fucking weird, right? It's like, it's two, I think it's 2 or 4, like, just, like, naked women holding up, like, in, like, a weird stance, holding up, like, in a sense like this, and they're holding up the top of the table, and the top of the table is just a glass, like, slate. It's just a glass, like, fucking, you know, slate that you put on there. It looks like a dangerous table. I mean, to have around, like, you know, kids and stuff. Like, it's got, like, kind of sharpish edges on the actual glass, and I'm just like, why would you buy that anyways? That's just stupid. And it was expensive too. The wife is like, this is really fucking expensive. Why are you buying this? Like, this is terrible. It looks like shit. It's really expensive. Don't buy this. And then, you know, he insists on buying it. They buy it. Right? And so he can't finish the coffee table. He can't finish building it, so he leaves it in his living room unfinished, and he's going to, you know, just wait until the furniture guy brings his screw there. And so his wife goes out just to shop casually, you know, one day. I don't know. His wife goes out to shop casually, you know, while he was building the table, and, you know, and then during this instance, this is the first time that the wife Maria leaves the newborn baby with Jesus. And this is his first time taking care of the kid by himself, alone, like, ever. Like, this is very, very newborn baby, you know, they're very new at parenting, so this is the very first time that he's ever even taken care of his kid on his own. And the wife is just at the grocery store, you know, casually strolling, shopping and whatnot. And as, you know, the man, Jesus, is at home. He's taking care of his baby. He's carrying it around. He's trying to get it to stop crying. It's crying a lot. He's trying his hardest to get it to stop crying. And something happens. It doesn't happen on screen. It happens kind of off screen. It shows a sort of obscure picture, but doesn't show the actual, scene of this happening. It just shows him walking back and forth, like holding the baby, trying to get it to stop. He couldn't do anything to get it to stop crying and everything. So he walks over, and, he's trying to get it to stop crying. And there's a moment in the film where he trips and falls. And he falls into the coffee table. The coffee table that is unfinished, so the glass top of the table is like sitting like this, hunched like on the side of the table, like unfinished, which just looks dangerous. I mean, it just like I can almost see what was going to happen almost at this point, but I didn't quite expect that. So the glass is like fucking hunched over like this, sitting like this, right? And he trips. Jesus, with his baby, holding his baby like this, he trips, falls, and assuming that it happens off camera, assuming he just falls into the glass table, and the glass table shatters, right? Which was it was almost like a funny thing, because the furniture salesman that sold him the table told him that this glass is unshatterable. It's unbreakable glass. You'll not be able to break this glass, right? So he first thing he does, he trips, falls, shatters the table, and at the same time as he trips, falls into the slanted up glass, he somehow decapitates his newborn baby accidentally. He just trips, falls, and decapitates his baby, just accidentally. Just accidental decapitation of your baby, That's what happens. And this event is what the whole plot of this film is about, right? So it kind of shows the aftermath of this, the immediate aftermath of what happens. There's tons of blood. He doesn't immediately know what happens, but he's got glass shards all up in his own arm and his hand and shit, and he realizes that the baby is headless, and the head had rolled under one of the chairs that they had in the living room, which comes in later in the film, of course, and he's just kind of sitting there like, wow. Like, he's just stunned. He doesn't know what to do. The baby's name is Catayano, too, I think. Yeah, Catayano. That's what it's called. That's the name. And, yeah. And from that point, the whole movie is him trying to cover up him accidentally decapitating his newborn baby. This is like a mix of a comedy. This movie is a mix of a comedy, a very dark comedy, and a horror movie. And I've never really seen anything like that. It's very unique. And it's told in a decent fashion. Like, the cinematography of this film is pretty good for how like much actually happens in the movie. There's not a ton that actually genuinely happens in the movie, besides him decapitating his baby and then trying to cover it up for the entire movie. So from there on, he's trying to cover it up. He's trying to clean up, like, and this is where I was like, what, bro? You can't cover this up. You just killed your baby. You just killed your newborn baby. You can't cover that up with your wife. Like, you're not gonna be able to hide that. Like, what is your plan here? I was like, this dude is stupid. This dude is just dumb. That's where I kind of almost didn't believe it a little bit. But then later on in the movie, he explains that he can't physically get himself to tell his wife. He cannot physically tell his wife. He can't do it. And that was where I was like, okay, I guess I understand. It like pains him too much, literally, like physically and mentally. He physically cannot tell his wife. He can't induce that much pain on his wife, right? So that's where I was kind of like, okay, I guess I understand. But right after he does it, he has a moment of like, oh fuck, like, oh fuck? And he goes around trying to look for cleaning supplies and everything, and he can't find the right cleaning supplies. He needs like bleach and everything. And then he goes out to the neighbor's apartment, and he asks for cleaning supplies like bleach and whatnot, and he obtains the bleach. You know, and they're like wondering what's going on because he's got blood on him, and he explains it like, oh, I'm just painting my baby's room. I'm just doing some painting for the room. I'm painting it red. Yeah, red's my favorite color. Yeah. They're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'll give you that. And there's also this weird side plot too that was just fucking weird. There's this neighbor of his that is like a 13-year-old girl that like is obsessed with him, like has a really big crush on him, and she's like convinced that he loves her too, and he's like, no bro, you're like 13 and I'm married and I have a kid, like what are you talking about? And it happens to be this girl's like apartment as well, that she lives there, and she's talking about stuff, and that whole situation is just weird. I mean, it was kind of funny, but it was weird. You know, the whole dynamic with that. They try to play it weirdly in some scenes. I was like, that's odd. Odd addition to this film. As if it wasn't already odd as fuck. So, yeah, he gets the cleaning supplies, he cleans up the stuff, and then he's like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm ready for my wife to come back, you know? And he hesitates so hard. He hesitates so hard even letting his wife into the house. Like, she's sitting there buzzing, like, his apartment building to try to get in. He's not letting her in. And he's acting all sus. Like, before this, when she was on the grocery store, she calls him, like, right after he kills the baby. She calls him, and he's just like, oh shit, right? And he's just like, oh man, oh fuck, you know? And he's being all weird and sus on the phone, as you would. And the whole movie from the rest of that point is just trying to make you so uncomfortable, like maximum uncomfortable, bro. I have never experienced it. It was like cringe but funny and like horrific at the same time, almost disturbing. Man, it was wild. So there's even a moment where Jesus's wife at the grocery store sees like an old friend of Jesus's, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta go talk to this lady, you know." And she gets on the phone. She's like, "Ah." Yeah, she screams some sort of inside joke, and he's just sitting there in despair, like, oh, yeah. He just doesn't say like much at all. He's very bare bones because he's just horrified. He's shocked. He's still in shock, as anyone would, you know. Which is part of like, yeah, the director here is just trying to make you just so fucking uncomfortable that it's like absurd. It is absurd, honestly. It's absurd how much he just tries to make you uncomfortable. That's just one scene there. And then when the wife gets home, she's like, "Oh, where's Catillano? Where's the baby and everything?" He's like, "Oh, I put him to sleep. You know, he finally got him to sleep. So you just gotta leave him there. You can't check on him. No, you know." She keeps wanting to check on him and everything. She's like, "Oh, you know, well, let me just check on him. Let me see him. I haven't seen him in a bit. You know." He's like, "No, I'll take care of it. You know, I promise. You know." And I'm just like, this dude is stalling so hard to like try to find a way to explain this, but he can't. He physically can't, and it's just gonna make it so much worse. Like, I was just thinking in this movie, like, the more you stall this, the worse it's gonna get. It's gonna get so much fucking worse if you just keep doing this. You just have to just come clean and fucking just tell her what happened and just deal with it. Because it was an accident, right? It was a complete accident, but he does not do that, and it makes it horrific. I mean, that is the horror of the film, really, is just the cringe. And the things that she says when she gets home, too. She said, well, they come home and they're cooking dinner, and you know, he explains to her that, oh, he tripped and fell and he broke the fucking glass on the table and there's blood on the floor, on the carpet, and he's like, oh yeah, I sliced my hand, so I had to, you know, wrap it up and whatnot. That's a Far Cry. That's the Far Cry 3 healing animation. But no, he's got a wrapped up arm, and that's how he explains like the blood on the carpet and whatnot. And she's like, dang, really, that's a lot of blood, like, for that, you know, like, damn, like, are you good? You don't need, like, stitches and nothing? He's like, oh, no. You know, and later on when they're cooking dinner, she's like, ha, she laughs so hard. She thinks it's fucking hilarious that the furniture dude said that the table was unbreakable. He said it was unshatterable, and she thinks it's hilarious. She is dying at that fact. She was laughing. There's a scene where she's laughing so fucking hard at how it didn't shatter, or how he said it wasn't shatterable and it shattered. She was just dying while they were cooking dinner. And it was just like, oh man. And Jesus is just sitting there like, oh, it's like, yeah. as you know, I'm just like, wow. It was just like a whole like, oh man. It was funny, but it was like, there was hints of funniness, but hints of like, oh, and like, ooh. Man, I don't know, because like the internal pain in Jesus there is like, oh, that's gotta be next fucking gen, like, pain on the inside, bro. Little does the wife know that the way that the fucking table was shattered was your baby was decapitated off of the fucking table. Like, holy fuck, man. I mean, fuck, bro. Ugh. This movie just is a whole lot of, it's a fucking doozy. It's so fucking weird. It's just it's so fucking uncomfortable, bro. It's so uncomfortable. And this happens to be the same day that they're having company over as well. Jesus is having his brother over. And his brother is bringing his 18-year-old girlfriend that he just got pregnant, I guess. So that's a whole thing. So he comes in with his girl, and they're all excited to see the baby. They're like, "Oh, we got so many gifts. We want to see him so bad." And they're like, "Oh, oh no, he's sleeping. You know, the baby's sleeping. You can't see it. You can't see the baby. You know, I just got him to sleep. You know, it was so hard too." And yeah, man, it just tries to like, oh, it maxes the cringe. It just maxes the fucking cringe, and it's just uncomfortable. A lot of people online say that they got traumatized from this film, right? And I feel like they got traumatized because they didn't know really what it actually was. It kind of just watched it without, I guess, knowing what it was going into it, obviously, and which is the way you should watch it. Really, I kind of knew a little bit of how it was going to go. I didn't know exactly, but yeah, some people that really got traumatized are like, oh man, this is not a funny movie. This is not anything. I was sitting there like, oh my god, it was so cringe that it was funny. I was like, oh my god. I was covering my fucking mouth half of the movie because I'm like, oh, how the fuck? How are you gonna, bro? How are you gonna get out of this? There's no getting out of this. And he doesn't get out of it. He makes it a trillion times fucking worse than it could have been. And he's obviously talking to his brother the whole time. They even have a long, elongated scene of them going into the baby room that they're making for the baby. And the brother is like, oh, you got our old Ninja Turtles. You're going to have Catillano play with our old Ninja Turtles. We used to love that. It's all our old toys and everything. This is just how we used to be. Catillano's gonna be so amazing. This is gonna be so great. It's so awesome. It's so happy. And then, oh man, it's eternal cringe. And then they go to the dinner table and they're talking so much about the baby and what it is, and they get to a point where like, what do you love most in your life? Who do you love most in your entire life? And the brother has like a very emotional scene of how, well, I love this person so much and whatnot, but I know that the baby that I'm going to have an indescribable love for it, and I know that's going to be the thing that I love most of like ever in my whole life, right? And then then they ask Jesus and Maria like, oh, what do you love the most? And Maria's like, well, Catellano, obviously. I used to love Jesus the most, but now I can't describe the amount of love that I have for Catellano. And man, it is just cringe to the fucking max when we get there, man. And then they go ask Jesus like, oh, who do you love the most? And he's like, I love you. I love you, Maria, the most. And she's like, thinks it's absurd that he doesn't love Catellano the most. She thinks it's absolutely absurd that he loves her the most instead of his own child. And she's like, well, why wouldn't you do that? And I was like, oh man, this is just like, wow, stop it, just stop. I couldn't wait for this movie to end. I was like, why are we gonna end this? Are we just gonna keep going? Fuck, man. And then it gets to a point, the ending really is, he ends up describing what happens to his brother, and they are just fucked up emotionally in the baby's room. He actually shows his brother the decapitated baby because it's leaking. There's a moment, there's a moment where they have the baby monitor and they hear the blood dripping from the baby's decapitated body, like dripping onto the floor, and they're like, oh, what is that? What is that noise? That sounds like, what is dripping in there? Oh, it sounds like something's dripping. And he's like, oh no, it's just interference, it's just the interference from the baby monitor, It's just, this movie is Jesus trying to make up so many fucking excuses for how he, like, nobody can see his baby, and he has no plan at the end. There's no end plan here at all. And so he explains to his brother what happened, and then he's like, oh man, we gotta tell Maria, we gotta tell your wife, like, there's no other way, we've gotta come up with something. And then they're like, all right, we'll come up with a plan, all right, we'll do this, we'll come up with a plan. And then they go out, and the climax of the film is this: the random weird 13-year-old girl that is obsessed with Jesus knocks on the door, and there's a point earlier in the film where she's like, oh, you must confess your love to me or I'm gonna frame you for being a pedo or something. And she shows up to his door, and this is the moment where she's like, tell your wife that we are gonna go off and get together. You better tell your wife today or I'm gonna go and tell her myself later. She says that early on in the film, so she comes back and says, this is the moment where she knocks on the door. She has a little dog with her as well. She has a little dog. She knocks on the door, and she gets to it, and she tells the wife. She tells the wife that they kissed in, like, the elevator or something, which didn't actually happen. She's just telling her because she's an obsessed 13-year-old girl, I guess. So, oh, man. And she's like, oh, is this why you've been acting all weird today? The wife comes back in. This is why you've been acting so weird today? This is what's happening? This is what you're doing? And he's like, oh, fuck. And then how the baby is revealed to be dead to everyone in the room is the little dog that the young girl comes in with. The little dog comes in and it sniffs out the fucking head, the baby's head that went under the chair. It sniffs out the baby's head that went under the fucking chair, and just starts playing with it like a ball. Like, grabs it and shit. And that is the moment where the sound cuts out to everything, and everyone is just like, oh, what the fuck, they're just realizing what actually happened. They realize what it is, and yeah, that's when the sound cuts, and it just pans a different the different characters in the movie just in pain after realizing this. And they're all just like, fuck, what the fuck? They're all just disturbed. The Jesus' brother, his girl starts like puking and shit. She's all just terrified of this, and he's just like, oh. I mean, he can't handle this shit. He can't handle it, and neither can the wife, because after the wife finds out that that's her baby's head, she just simply runs and jumps off the balcony and kills herself, commits suicide, and then that's pretty much all we see for that instance. And then the next scene goes to the police investigating this, and they're like, oh wow, a double suicide and a decapitated baby. What even is this? What's happening? One pregnant girl is just like can't talk. She's so fucked up from this, she can't even explain what's happening. And then one guy can only say one thing. He can only say one thing to us. He won't say anything else. And that guy was Jesus' brother, and he says, the coffee table. Just horrified. And I'm like, oh man, this film, wow, I've never watched a film like this. It wasn't, this is the thing, I can't say this was a bad film. This wasn't a bad film. It wasn't a bad movie. It was entertaining, and it was well told. It was well shot, and it was very unique. But I'm not gonna watch it again. I would never watch this again, and I would also not tell anybody to genuinely watch this. Like, I'm not gonna recommend somebody that they actually go and watch this movie. I would recommend them if I was just joking. Like, I joke around and shit a lot, like at work and with my homies and shit, and I'm like, dude, you ever seen The Coffee Table, bro? You ever heard of the movie The Coffee Table? Go watch that shit, bro, right now, bro. It's so fire. So I would just tell everybody that shit, if anything. But don't fucking watch this movie. Like, why would you watch this movie? I don't know. But, man, you know what? Do watch the movie. Support this movie, I guess, because it's a very interesting film. It's a good film, but I mean, it's gotta have like a warning to it here, man, because it is fucking visceral, bro. It's just, and there's just moments that were just like kind of funny when they're explaining it. Like, it was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of funny, but it was like also like a terror. I'm just like, oh, it was cringe, funny. It's not like spooky or scary or anything. It's just extremely disturbing. Funny, disturbing, and just cringe. Just uncomfortable. This is the most uncomfortable movie ever fucking made. There's no other movie that would ever be able to top this. I don't even know how you would be able to top this. I mean, I'm sure there's ways, but I'm not really trying to watch that. Well, maybe actually. I am one for very unique movies. I really like horror movies. I really like really disturbing movies. And I don't like really like them, but like I like the movies that have something to them, that make you feel something extra, that make you really feel something, movies that really make me feel sad are the most memorable movies I've ever seen, are the ones that make me feel so terrified. The saddest movie I've ever seen, one of the saddest movies I've ever seen, is probably that Jim Carrey movie in the early 2000s, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I really just remember that movie because it was so fucking sad. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen is probably Sinister, and I watched that when I was like 12 or something, and I really remember that because it's like it was a very scary experience, and I really liked that movie. I really loved Sinister. And this will go into a different category of like the most uncomfortable fucking movie I've ever seen, and not really a category that I wanted to make, honestly. I didn't really want to make that category of movie, bro. But I made it. And this is number one. This is number one on that fucking scale. That's For fucking sure. I can't imagine a movie that would top it, and I don't really want to watch that movie that much, but I would because I don't know, I like that shit, I guess. I like it. You know? It's whatever. So, if anybody's watching this and you've actually seen The Coffee Table, I wouldn't expect that you've seen it. I don't know anybody that's actually watched this movie. If you've seen this movie, dude, let me know what you think of this movie. This movie is just unique and wild as fuck. And you should watch it if you're into that shit, you know? If you're into, like, a unforgettable experience. But, oh, man, it just a memorable experience, really, is what I'm getting at, you know? I would still give this movie, like, a 7 out of 10, at least. Like, it's gotta be at least a 7, right? I mean, there's not a places that the movie takes place in. There's not a bunch of different scenery or anything. So even with that happening, the cinematography was decent, you know. Soundtrack was decent, you know, and man, it is just it's a tough watch. It is a tough watch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. It is tough to watch this film. But go watch it, cause why not? Actually, don't watch it if you don't want to be disturbed. If you're a person that likes to be disturbed, then watch this movie. If you don't, then don't. Stay far away from it if you don't like to be very disturbed. But if you do, definitely watch this movie. For real. Let me know what the hell you think about The Coffee Table. I've never seen a film like this. Comment, man. Comment and tell me. And if this video makes you go and watch the movie too, dude, just let me know, bro. Let me know, cause that shit, I mean, wow. Alright, guys. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. If you watch this, subscribe to the channel, man. Make a bunch of random vids about random movies and new movie reviews, a lot as well. So hey, then I'm gonna make some game videos too. Some massive gamer. As you can see, I've got my PS5 Pro and my Xbox Series X right here, and I'm recording this on my PC. So I'm a gamer, bro. So making playing hella games. So game shit coming, movie shit coming. So hey, subscribe, bro. Give this a like and comment. Let me. What do you think about this weird ass movie? And on the spook meter for this one, if we're talking about spook meter, it's like a 1. It's a 0 out of 10 on the spook meter. Because it's not spooky. I mean, I don't find this spooky. It's just uncomfortable, and it catches you off guard. It's out of pocket. This is an out of pocket movie, and that's that. Thank y'all for watching. Good day.